Alrighty, welcome back everyone. We just talked about the teams that can actually win a national title in 2024. I gave my picks, split them up into three different groups, so if you want to check that out, you can definitely check out that segment. But now let's get to team slogans. We have done this before with the clear-cut contenders that we talked about in the last segment, but time to get to the second tier teams, if you will. And we'll start in State College with the Penn State Nittany Lions. And the slogan I'm going with is not the same old Nittany Lions. I think everyone, if you are a college football fan, whether it is a casual fan or a diehard fan, you know Penn State is a 10-2 team. They have been that way for quite some time. Everyone in State College knows that. Everyone that watches college football knows that. It doesn't need to be the case this year, though, to be totally honest. All of the things that were not in place at Penn State for the past couple of iterations are finally in place, it feels like. I didn't think they ever had an elite talent at quarterback. I think Drew Aller is an elite talent. He hasn't hit his ceiling yet, but I think his ceiling is remarkably high. They have new coordinators, which is absolutely huge. Defensive coordinator has never really been a problem. They've always had a really solid guy. In fact, their defensive coordinator, Manny Diaz, just got hired at Duke to be their head coach. So that's not the problem side of the ball. The offensive side has been a little bit tougher, and Andy Kotelnicki coming in from Kansas is absolutely a difference maker. If he hits, I think this team is fully ready to step into the spotlight and prove they are not the same old Nittany Lions. And then Ole Miss, the classic, the go-to for a lot of teams, the why not us. I think Ole Miss has been the team that a lot of people have been watching throughout the offseason. The portal class is just remarkable. Walter Nolan kind of leading that group. Jackson Dart going into his third year. You have Trey Harris. You have Juice Wells, a transfer from South Carolina. Caden Priestcorn. So many incredible weapons on that team, and the talent on that team is just off the charts. Lane Kiffin is sitting right under that top line of head coaches for a couple years now, and I think he's finally ready to break through. This would be the year to do it. So I think their messaging is just, we brought in this really diverse group from a ton of different teams, from a ton of different places. A lot of people are wondering, can we put it together? Let's prove them wrong. Let's say, why not us, and find our way into the playoff, and then the talent is there to make a run, like we just talked about. And then Tennessee, the way I look at it, it is repeat 2022 and you're in. I know that 2022 is kind of somewhat a sore subject for Tennessee fans, even though they had so much success. The way that it ended left a sour taste in their mouth for sure, but if there was a 12-team playoff in 2022, Tennessee is in. Obviously, they did struggle towards the end of the season. If Hendon Hooker was healthy, they're definitely in. They might be in regardless if Hendon Hooker was healthy, but Nico Iamaleava is the guy that they wanted out of Joe Milton last year. He is the quarterback that Joe Milton isn't, and he is much closer to what Hendon Hooker is. In fact, I think he kind of splits the middle of them pretty beautifully. I think his touch and ability to layer balls is elite. His arm strength is pretty wild considering his size. I think he can meet the expectations of Hendon Hooker in 2022, and honestly, I think he could even exceed him. He is so remarkable. He has, the ceiling on this kid is just off the charts. But when you look at the repeat 2022 and in mantra, you do have to notice there is one big time difference between 2022 Tennessee and 2024, and it's the defensive side of the ball. And it's James Pierce Jr. in particular, the best edge in the country, in my opinion, an absolute difference maker. If he can get home a lot and be a game wrecker on defense, then this team gets very interesting very quickly, because a pass rush opens up so many different things for a defense if you're not quite as talented on the back end as Tennessee is. But James Pierce Jr. is a game changer, and if him and Nico Iamaleava can hit their stride and hit their ceiling, watch out for this Tennessee team. That's the way I'll put it. And then LSU, it's the passing of the torch. Jaden Daniels is gone. The Heisman winner is out the door. The last time that happened was Joe Burrow, and things didn't go very well the year after, but I think things are going to be a little bit different this time, and it's because of Garrett Nussmeier. I think he is fully ready to take over. I've talked about him a number of times on here, and I feel like he's just itching to get on the football field. He is so ready to lead the LSU Tigers out of the tunnel and be the guy, and I think he's going to handle it really, really well. The defensive staff is just so much better than it was a year ago. I think it is the biggest turnaround in all of college football when you look at a staff perspective, because they hired a great defensive coordinator in Blake Baker from Missouri, got Bo Davis from Texas as a D-line coach, did so many incredible things on that defensive side of the ball. Corey Raymond coming back as their DB coach is huge for recruiting and for development. This defense is going to be better. There's no doubt about it. And I don't think this offense is going to take the step back that some people might think they are going to. But let's continue down the list here, and let's go to Kansas State in the Big 12. And for me, it's very simple. This is our conference. I think Kansas State, Texas and OU are gone. The Big 12 can really belong to whoever wins it this year, and Kansas State is in a position to do that. They did win it in 2022, so there was some argument to be made that they already have some stake in this conference, but there are a lot of things changing, and in 2024, you can firmly plant that flag in this conference, say, we are the team to beat, we are the team that this conference is going to run through year in and year out, so get used to it. If you're Chris Kleiman and the Wildcats, you are fully ready to do that. And even with some great teams coming in, it shouldn't worry you. I think Kansas State is fully ready to not only become a team that wins the Big 12 every now and then, but the team that they look to every single offseason as the team to beat in the Big 12. And then another team that is coming in, Utah, is a team that I'm watching very closely, and it's kind of the exact opposite. It is a crash the party type of year for Utah. New conference, same exact goal. Utah's going to go out there, play tough. They're going to rough you up, punch you in the teeth a couple of times, and definitely be in the fight to win a conference title. That's just kind of what they do, especially with a healthy quarterback in Cam Rising. So I think Utah can do so many things. They can not only crash the Big 12 party, but the national party. If Cam Rising can stay healthy, if he can get back to kind of that 2022 Cam Rising that we remember so well, I think this team is capable of just so many things, and especially, as I said, crashing the party in the Big 12. They could be the team to beat instead of Kansas State. So huge year for both those teams. And then we'll finish it out with a couple of ACC teams here. Clemson, to start, in my opinion, the motto is the throne is still vacant. A lot of people have seen Clemson kind of slip over the last couple of years. A couple of different teams have won ACC titles when Clemson had an absolute stranglehold on the ACC for quite some time, right? For at least a 5-year period there throughout the last couple of years. And then last year came, and the last couple of years came, and Florida State had a remarkable year last year, no two ways about it. Won the ACC, went undefeated before that disaster down in Miami, but they are not necessarily the comfortable favorite in this conference. They have the exact same odds as Clemson does right now to win the conference, so the door is still wide open for Clemson to be at the head of the table. I think a lot of people are, like they're doing with Bama right now, kind of writing Clemson's death note, hoping that they are going to fall off into oblivion and not have to worry about them anymore, but that's likely not going to happen. And if 2024, if they can put it together, win the ACC, get back on top of that conference, I think Clemson might just be back to rolling the way that a lot of people don't want them to be. And then finally, we'll finish it off with Florida State. And to me, it's very clear. It's just harness the chaos. These past, 6 months for Florida State fans, for players, for coaches, for everyone at that university has been a little bit tense. You obviously had the playoff snub that made everyone very, very angry. You have the lawsuits against the ACC. Tons of people are praying for Florida State to not have the year that they had a year ago. And Mike Norvell and the Seminoles can shut out what they need to. They can, focus on what they need to, but also let some of that hate come in because it can fuel you in really, really great ways. So I think Florida State has arrived. I think they are at the table at the very least. And the question is, can they hang out for a little bit? 2024 is going to be a huge part of that. The transfers are going to be a massive part of their success. And if they can put it together again, I think people are talking about Mike Norvell and Florida State as the team that not only is here for a little bit of time, but the ACC might just be theirs after 2024. So tons going into this season for all of these teams. I think there are tons of talking points and great things to get into as we talk about slogans. So I would be surprised if that was the last edition of this segment. But we are going to take our final break here. When we come back, we have a Hot Take Thursday for you. And it has to do with who I think this 2024 season is going to belong to. So stick with us, and we will be right back with that.